Hello, I'm your host and love coach, Nikki Lee, and welcome to Ready for Love Radio. On this show, we're going to take the hour to get closer to nature, and we're going to learn about spirit animals. We're going to learn more about ourselves, and we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to find out how nature and animals can relate to us, and we can relate to them. Won't you join me? Hello, and welcome to Ready for Love Radio. Tonight, we're going to talk about spirit animals, and we're going to talk about black panthers or jaguars. It's either one. Now, I kind of want to do just a quick overview, and then we'll dive deeper and deeper into the different areas. Now, we've talked about several different types, and we're going to, once a month or about every 6 weeks, we're going to talk about a different one. And each one, you're going to notice that we go through, each one's got different traits, different characteristics, and this kind of thing. The Black Panther is really going to be one that if you're looking for one that really the biggest focus is going to be strength and courage, that's your Black Panther and your jaguar. And, you know, I've always thought a jaguar and a Black Panther is it's sleek, it's sexy, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous animal. You know, and it looks strong. It looks fierce, it looks strong, and I didn't really know much of anything about it. And there's so many cool things I'm going to share with you tonight. So, strength, protection, those are two of the big things. Okay, so if this is going to be, if this is your spirit animal, okay, you're thinking about an animal that comes into the world and has a very deep understanding of spirituality. That's interesting. Okay? There's a high level of psychic awareness and understanding what's happening around them. Okay, very aware of what's going on all around. And intuition plays a big part with the Black Panther. Okay, which is very, you know, I can't think of an animal that doesn't need to be very aware, especially any animal that's out in the wild needs to know what's happening around them. And so when a Black Panther is your spirit animal, this animal comes to you because there's something that's confusing or uncertain in your life, and maybe you're at a crossroads, maybe you're almost at a crossroads, there's something coming up that you're going to need to make a decision, okay? And you need that strength. You need that inner strength. You need to make a decision. And And so you need that strength, you need the something else with the Panther is that people around them and in the animal kingdom, the animals around them respect them. Okay, the same thing with people that have the Panther for their spirit animal. The people around them respect them. Okay, so they're likely to be strong and enduring. And that strength and the endurance is physical and emotional. Okay, they withstand a lot of obstacles, and so no matter what problems come up in the future, they're going to find a way to get through the problems, and whatever's holding them back from what they want to accomplish, their goals, their dreams, that sort of thing, they're going to find a way to get there. And so these main characteristics or traits that the Black Panther represents are going to be, and you're going to hear this over and over during the show: strength, power, and protection. Those are going to be key traits with the Panther. So what are some of the things that the Panther's trying to tell you? It's all about courage, valor, and strength. So it's important to pay close attention to what's going on around you, looking to see about the people that are around you, and to add to that, people that you need to be wary of. Okay, so not only who's around you and what they're doing, but watch out for potential problem people around you. And so that's just a little snapshot of what's to come in the show today. Okay, so now let's dig in a little bit more detail. Okay. Let me see. All right. Found a neat Panther affirmation. It says, Panther, let me know your silent wisdom. As my perception expands, I will find a wealth of insight awaits me. It's going to make more sense as we go along. Keep that in mind. I like that, and it fits very well. So, what does a panther symbolize? It symbolizes courage, beauty, grace, protection, femininity, death, rebirth, cunningness, viciousness, reclaiming our power, and a knowledge and ability to know the dark. It's an interesting group of things, isn't it? And actually, when you look at a panther, just kind of think of pictures and video clips and movie scenes and things where you've seen a black panther. That all kind of makes sense, doesn't it? You've seen representations of panthers that actually represents all of those things, haven't you? And you know, it's interesting. I was looking at a list of like 10 different animals I was thinking about using because I've got some prepared stuff that I've gotten from a resource, and I was trying to figure out which animal I want to do this month. And I couldn't figure out which one. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, no, got to do the Black Panther. That's got to be the one I got to do. And so I was looking at it, and it was so weird when I started going through this stuff, because I just had the 6th anniversary of the major surgery for my aortic dissection. And we call that my rebirthday, because I literally almost died when that happened, and the surgery is so traumatic. And calling my aortiversary because it's very, very drastic and traumatic and a very extensive surgery. And so when I was looking at this, and one of the things with the Panther what symbolizes is rebirth, and that actually that date was just last Thursday. And so it's very very interesting that we did all this. And then on Sunday was just the 12th anniversary of the day when my mom died from cancer. So it's been all of these major anniversaries that have just happened in the last week when I was putting all this together and researching all this kind of stuff. So it's been very interesting to be researching all this stuff and putting it together while focusing on all that stuff too. But so it's been a really good time for me to do this. Let me see. So it says, let me see what the Black Panther symbolizes. It actually stands for mystical endurance and the power of night and the mother. Now that's going to make more sense to you as we go along. Now keep in mind that as we're doing the spirit animals, we're also digging into some of the shaman beliefs, and some of the other things like this. So we're touching in on some mythology, some Native American beliefs, and a lot of different sorts of things with this. So it's interesting the variety of things that we're touching on when we get into all this kind of stuff. Like I said, I think it's fascinating. I hope that y'all are enjoying this. Let me see. The Panther often comes to people that need protection in various ways. And it's, believe it or not, and I never noticed this from the pictures that I've seen, but I've never seen a group of like panthers and lions and tigers and all this in a group. But believe it or not, panthers are usually smaller than lions or tigers. Never knew that before. But they're more fierce than lions or tigers. So that's interesting. I like that. And they're sometimes called the Sacred Mother. And what they do is they watch over those. Okay, so the Sacred Mother watches over those. She chooses with great courage. And then what she does is she chases away fears, therefore protecting. Okay? Now, what we're doing is if there's a darkness of any kind that we're contending with, whether it's something inside of us or something outside of us that we're dealing with, the panther as our spirit animal will help us to work with that. Okay, help us to navigate it, help us to deal with it, help us to figure out how to deal with it. Okay, maybe it's doubts, maybe it's concerns, maybe it's some person that we have to deal with. It's some kind of a problem. Okay, maybe it's helping us with additional awareness about the problem. Maybe it's helping us to figure out how to figure out what to do about it. Maybe one of the big things is sometimes it's helping a mother that needs to figure out how to get out of a toxic relationship or toxic marriage. Often, in that kind of a situation, they may the mother may find that the Black Panther actually appears and then helps them to find a way to get out of this situation. Okay, so that would be one example. And especially since the Black Panther is known to symbolize femininity and the mother, so then that would be a way that the Black Panther spirit animal would be helping the person in their situation. Now, some of the symbolisms and meanings for the Black Panther are astral travel, guardian energy, which also fits in very well with mothers, symbol of the feminine, death and rebirth, understanding of death, reclaiming our power, ability to know the dark, and that could be a whole show all by itself explaining that, actually. being aggressive and knowing and exercising our power. Now, it can also be a shapeshifter and a master of disguise. Now, it's interesting that the black coat actually hides the true identity in the in the shadows. And it isn't until you get close to them that you can actually see them. Because obviously, if they're in the dark and they're in the shadows and it's dark around them, you can't see them. So they're basically invisible, correct? And actually, the Black Panther is really a leopard or a jaguar, okay? But because of a genetic difference, gives them a black coat. So until you get really, really close to them, you can't see the slight difference in their coat, and then you can see the spots. Had no clue about that. None at all until I was doing this research. Gives a whole new meaning to the old saying that a leopard can't change their spots, doesn't it? Just saying. So anyway, kind of helps them masquerade a little bit too. And just a little bit, little bit of background. The Egyptian priest wore a panther tail to give them strength and to keep them safe during sacred rituals. And panther was used to diligently protect Zeus's beloved heifer. Who knew? So, let me see. And in nature, a black panther can move over short distances very quickly, but if we're trying to imitate that, now keep in mind they move very quickly, swiftly, and gracefully, and they're gorgeous to watch. If you ever get a chance to look at a video clip or whatever, watch them because they're gorgeous when they do that. But keep an eye on that if you're trying to imitate them, because they do that very quickly, but they can't maintain that pace for a long time. So just keep that in mind. Seriously, I've seen video clips of that, and I've seen them in movies, and they're gorgeous to watch. Now, panthers are also loners. Okay, they like to run alone and walk alone, but they're not lonely because, first of all, they choose to be alone, and then they also develop their senses and their abilities and all this so that they hunt very quietly and silently so that they can appear and disappear like in the blink of an eye so that other animals don't notice. Gives them the element of surprise, makes them very elusive and very effective. Because if you're hunting, and what you're hunting against or what you're hunting for doesn't hear you, you're very, very, very effective. My cat's actually getting really good at that. So I was reading all this going, this sounds like my cat. So, oh, gracious. And there's so much safety in the darkness. You know, if you want to sneak up on somebody, or if you want to accomplish something and you don't want to be seen, when do you do it? You don't do it in the daytime, right? You don't do it in the daylight. You do it at night, and you do it in the dark. You don't flip on the lights to do it. No, okay. If you're doing it smart, you don't flip on the lights. So, you know, that's the wisdom, and that's the smart way to do it. And there's also There's also the Panther's fur is interesting, okay? The panther can actually sense things through the vibrations that they feel, and it's let me see. There's also there's the touch, and she's very sensual, okay, very sexual, sensual, and very in touch with her sexuality, which is very beneficial for us to emulate. And then when we have the panther as our spirit animal, we need to take a look at our personal love life and see if there's are there any issues going on there, okay? Is there anything that's unresolved? Is there anything that's maybe repressed? Is there anything that we're uncomfortable with? And are we fully embracing our sexuality? If not, that would be something that it would be good for us to take a look at. Okay, let me see. Oh, also, you know how some animals, when they look at you, or they just have a very intense stare when they look? A panther's like that, okay? They have a very intense stare, and they just, their eyes just kind of look right through you. And it's amazing when an animal has that kind of look, they're very aware of what's happening, okay? And it says the spirit animal strips away all facades and understands down to a cellular level. It's very, very, very powerful, and it's worthy of deep respect. Now, are we like that? Do we focus that intently, that carefully, and that thoroughly on things in our lives? And on, say, the things that we need to take care of? Do we pay that close of attention? Are we that aware of the people and things in our lives? And do we do things in such a way to earn that kind of respect from the people that are in our lives? Never a bad thing to think about. And if we aren't, what would we need to do different to earn that respect? And being truly aware, I talk about that a lot on the show. You know, being aware of what's happening. Just as an example, this is just kind of a silly example, but it proves my point. There's a longtime friend of mine that was sitting in a chair one day watching TV and went to get something out of the kitchen, and was kind of not really aware of things around him most of the time, and set his computer down on the floor. I can't fathom why you would sit your computer on the floor. I mean, even being aware of what you're doing, I don't know why you would do that, because there's a million potential things that can go wrong when you do that. But set the computer down on the floor, and then turned to talk to somebody for a minute, and then stood up. I bet you can guess what happened next. He stood on the computer, stood up, and yes, destroyed his computer. So this is number one, why you don't put your computer on the floor. And number two, this is why you need to be aware of what you're doing. But there's a million other things you need to be aware of on a daily basis. But that's just one example of not being aware and not paying attention, and on and on and on. But are you aware of what's going on around you? Are you aware of the people in your family, the people that you care about? Your partner, your children. People that you say are important to you, are you aware of them and how they're doing, how they are on a daily and weekly basis? And if there's something wrong, if there is something wrong, are you aware? And next, do you check with them and see if they need something? That's all part of this being aware thing that I talk about so often on here. So anyway, just a little side note while we're talking about awareness. All right, now how would you know if, I think the Black Panther sounds absolutely cool. So how would you know if the Black Panther is your spirit animal? Okay. Key things about a person who has a spirit animal is Black Panther. They have psychic ability, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you'd be a fortune teller or something. But you just might have some abilities to kind of be intuitive, that sort of thing. Okay, so don't think that you've got to be completely psychic to fit into that category. But being intuitive and artistically inclined. Okay? A lot of people are very artistic and intuitive. You prefer to remain by yourself. You're very connected to people that also like to be, on their own. You're an attentive listener, but you don't feel the need to share the things that people share with you. And let me see, you have a broad vision, and you're able to perceive things very clearly. You are acutely sensitive, and you're blessed with a realization of feelings that enable you to explore your sexuality fully. I know quite a few people that have quite a few of those characteristics. So, do you think that, and you don't necessarily have to have all of those, but you might have quite a few of those. Now, we've also talked about maybe the panther's not your spirit animal, but it may be your totem animal, which would mean that you may be in need of the panther as a guide. Maybe something's coming up that you need the panther to kind of be there to help you. Okay, if that's the case, then there may be something that's coming up that you need some help with. Okay, you would be a graceful individual that kind of moves in and out of life with very little notice by other people. You value brief connections with people, and you don't have to have a long-term friendship with a person to value them. You can be a friend with a person for a short time and appreciate that. You're cautiously curious. You have, let me see. You may, let me see. You have deep running passions that need expressions, and you just really need to be able to show those to people. without feeling like you've got to have a long-term commitment with the people. You really, really want to have a connection with them, but it doesn't have to be a long-term sort of thing. And you understand that the most powerful form of communication can be complete silence. All right. And you have the strength to communicate with people even without having to have a huge conversation with them. You know that there's other ways to get your point across to people. And a Panther is a kind of a person that rarely says or reveals too much about themselves to other people. They don't feel like they have to tell their life story and everything about themselves to other people in order to spend time with them and to be there for them. Now, they're highly intuitive, they're very artistic, and they live their dreams, they discover their desires, they may be beginning a new chapter in their life, maybe they're at a point where they're starting over, they are expanding their awareness, they've discovered and found their fears, and they're getting rid of them, they're eliminating them, they're getting past them, they are becoming a new person. They have now they are often introverted. Okay, they might like to avoid big crowds and social activities. They enjoy smaller groups. They enjoy one-on-one situations. Often they'll avoid being aggressive, but they will stand up for themselves when they need to, and they enjoy flying under the radar. That's something they do really, really, really well, and they often like to wait till the last minute to announce themselves, and they can be really, really good at using a sort of like stalk and ambush technique. May not be what you would term that, but it's a variation of that. All right. And they may be the sort of person that is interested in a goal and a prize and may be working their way toward it, but you may not be aware of that. So they may be secretly working toward it without you knowing that they're doing that. So, like I said, not revealing too much to you. And they're drawn to the dark, might have a little secret vampire side to them. They enjoy activities after sunset, and their mind is most active at night. So they're a night owl kind of person. I relate to that. So their main traits are being aggressive, elusive, they're instinctual, they're leaders, always moving. Powerful, sensual, they like to be solitary, they're strong, and they definitely have strength about them in what they do. And their challenges, they do have challenges. They may be too involved in dark areas of metaphysical ideas. All right, that's another one that could take an hour to talk about. They may be ferocious, although you may not get a glimpse of that side of them, but it may be buried below the surface. They may be ruthless. There again, you may not see that. Maybe a little tad bit unsociable, and overly secretive. Now, the panther also represents the feminine. Okay, acutely sensitive, and I still like how the hairs on their body lets them pick up subtle vibrations. That's cool. And they pay attention to feelings and messages. Touch is significant to them. Helps to awaken the concealed gifts that they have. And their smooth, sensual coat is connected with their sexuality. I will never look at their fur again the same way. Never. Let me see. So, and you should call on the Black Panther spirit animal when you need strength and help following your intuition. Okay, when you got an inclination that there's something as far as your intuition, call on the panther when you need additional strength. And if you can't find the help somewhere else, that's what you need. And if you're having a difficult time coming up with something or making a difficult decision, then that's when you call on the Black Panther. Okay? Now, dream messages. The panther is regal, majestic, sleek, and just an exquisite animal. There's just no doubt about it. Okay? But do not forget, it's a very dangerous animal. So dreams are the best way to get close to these animals. So fear can be one reason that a panther shows up in your dreams. It can be that there's some negative undertone and may suggest that you have enemies that you fear. Okay, if you're concerned about someone or something, that could be what it is. If you are, let me see, if there's something you're trying to deal with and when you're awake, you just can't see it, or you can't wrap your head around it, or whatever, then you might start dreaming about it, and you might see a panther, because that's telling you that you need to go about it a different way, and you need to be more decisive and more confident and more assertive, and you need to tackle it a different way. It's time to step up your game and do something about it. Might be that it would be better to, sometimes it's that you need to keep a low profile and kind of hang back and just kind of watch and keep your eyes and your ears open and be more aware, just like the panther would do in your dreams. So it's like I've said before, if you're dreaming about your spirit animal, every detail is critical. Every detail about the animal, what they're doing, where they are, how they're behaving, what's going on around them, if they're in a building, if they're outside a building, if it's day, if it's night, the weather, the lighting. I mean, everything makes a difference. So it's the more that you can remember about it, the more difference it makes as far as trying to interpret what it means. But it's the dreams and the interpretation can be fascinating. Now, We're talking about Black Panthers, but it says too that when you're thinking about the dreams, you can actually think about the Pink Panther. So think of only in the fact that the Pink Panther was clever and cunning and funny and kind of a trickster, okay? So you you could think about that because of the being clever and playful and that sort of thing. But only that part. But yeah. But it's interesting. Otherwise, keep focused on the Black Panther. But keep thinking. If in the dream, if the panther is stalking you, then that can mean that your enemies are close by, and you need to be more careful. And if the panther attacks you and you survive it, then that means that you have people that are out to get you, but you're the one that's going to win in the end. So the panther in your dreams, it's a sign of courage and power. And if the panther just crosses your path in your dreams, then this means that they're there to protect you and to give you power. So a lot of times the spirit animal, if you just kind of see one of whatever it is, like on the road or that kind of thing, or just see it just casually in a dream, they're just kind of looking out for you, just kind of that kind of deal. But if it's a more involved kind of a scenario, that's when it's more of a message kind of a scenario. So anyway, I like I said, I hope that you're enjoying this. I know that in the replays on the podcast, the show about the hummingbirds is doing very, very well on the podcast directories. So I hope that you all are enjoying these, and I welcome your feedback. The show will be on lovecoachjourney.com/Black Panther, and if you go there or look at any of the promotional images, at the very bottom you'll see the link to the new archive site. And if you go there and you want to subscribe, you will be notified as soon as the new show replay goes live, because it doesn't go live until after the show premieres on Thursday night on New Visions Radio. So that will go, like I said, and then I will also be posting all of the information, the link where I get all the information for these shows that you're more than welcome to take a look at. And I also posted an article about Black Panthers, which has some more information you might want to take a look at also. So that link will be on the show page also. So I've been scheduling shows like crazy and recording those. So I'm actually scheduling shows through the end of December. They're already scheduled. So now I just got to get them all recorded and edited. So anyway, all right. Well, I hope you enjoy the show. And like I said, it'll be at lovecoachjourney.com/Black Panther. And I'll be with you next time on Ready for Love Radio.